You know, what bothers me the most, Denise, is that an artist like you that's touching millions of people, right? On Spotify and on TikTok. Sure, they're your followers, but you don't own that data.
No.
You can't remarket to them.
I can't get to them.
You can't really touch them as a business owner. How frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating,
right?
Especially with Leave Me, right? I dropped the song 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This is the song that millions of people, literally
Yeah.
millions of people clamored for,
Right.
right? And for reasons outside of my control, I couldn't release it when they wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I could release it, I had lost access to them.
Yeah.
So now this song is
Yeah.
out and I can't get it to them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking frustrating.
BeatStars, the foundation, the precedence. We flying flags in every city, global residence. And we killing off the masters. Ghetto slave driving bastards. We making hits faster than you could think. We're on the brink of revolution. All my indie music makers, here's your restitution. We got the game in a chokehold. Not paying the creators is a no-no. I got the smoke road for all the fam bam.
Welcome to the Pay the Creators podcast. I'm your host, the CEO of BeatStars, Abe Batchon, and today, I'm with a real special guest. Someone that I've had the luxury of watching ascend into the universe of music for a few years now, since day one. This dude is a visionary, an entrepreneur, a cultivator of love, and he's currently rolling around the United States on a sold-out tour, melting the hearts of every couple around the United States. I'm so proud. Well, he's also a #1 internationally charting artist.
Come on now.
He's making history. He's changing the landscape of what music sounds like and bending what music does in people's lives. I'm so proud to have this guy. Anis, welcome to the podcast, baby.
Thank you for having me, brother.
I appreciate you
I'm
coming.
honored to be here with you. And I always say it's an honor whenever I feature on any podcast or publication, but this is genuinely a deeper honor because you have been from day one in my corner. And I've known you since before I was an artist. So this is very full circle.
Man, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And not just me, and the community, especially our people, the Palestinian community. We don't have a lot of representation, and we don't get to see what our people can do. And you're making us all super proud. And
Thank
you're representing our people. Amazing.
Thank you. Well, we need that representation.
Yeah, man.
You know, and from day one, the Palestinian community had my back. You know, so I'm able to represent because they elevated. So
For sure. Man, okay. Full circle. We're here in Austin, Texas.
yes, sir.
We got to give the people a little bit of like a backdrop, a story.
Sure.
We got to let the people know. You know, people have seen you. You know, ascend on TikTok, and you've entered the hearts of so many people. But we gotta go back. We gotta go back.
Let's give them some story time.
Early.
100%.
We gotta go early. I want you to kind of just introduce yourself for those that don't know who you are, and give us a little bit of a high level journey from your early days as a child and to where we are today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I look at any of these cameras?
That's you right there.
This one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the story time is everything. I think everybody's life story is the precursor to their art, you know? And so for me, growing up, not pursuing music at all, but always being surrounded by music. My parents were always playing music in the house, you know, and music of all different varieties, you know, ranging from Jim Croce and James Taylor to the Gypsy Kings to Lauryn Hill to Nina Simone to, you know, there was just a wide range of music, and I think I was always sort of steeped in it, even if I didn't realize it at the time. And so I never pursued music in school. Went to college, studied philosophy, went to law school, became a lawyer, and this is right around the time when I met you. Although I had 2018. Although I had known you since I was a kid, but I had known of you. But yeah, right around 2018, 2017, I finished law school, became a lawyer, and I was at my lowest point. I was depressed. And it's funny because like I think a lot of people expected that, okay, I'm like a brown person who became a lawyer. Like it must have been the family pressure. It must have been the traditional cult. No, it wasn't. For me, actually, my family's quite like open-minded, and there was never a pressure from within the house to be a lawyer or to pursue the traditional fields. I just was limiting myself. I had sort of jumped into the box that I felt other people wanted me to stay in. And I think a lot of people do that. I think in many ways, that is the norm. Unfortunately,
we're always in discovery mode.
Yes,
we're always in discovery mode,
yes.
and there's no time period on when that discovery moment happens. You
no,
know what I mean?
no,
so
it's just
you could be a 50-year-old artist,
and it's like, oh,
yep,
yeah, 100%. And thank God every day that I figured it out pretty young. You know, I could have been one of those artists that at 18 was like, I know that this is what I'm about. That wasn't meant for me. That wasn't God's will for me. That wasn't the plan for me. So got to my lowest point.
Growing up in the East Coast.
Yes, sir. DC area, Virginia, Northern Virginia. Pretty comfortable childhood, but at the same time, like an interesting childhood, right? Like my dad, his family has been here for 4 generations. My mom's family has been here for maybe 40 years. And so my dad and mom were living in DC because my dad's a immigration attorney, but at the time he was doing civil rights law. So I think I was always sort of, as a kid, my most formative sort of memories, those fleeting core memories are like driving to and from, like civil rights conventions. And I think I'm very blessed based on how I grew up. I was raised in an area of diversity. I was raised in an area of diverse, not just ethnicity, but diverse ways of thinking, diverse approaches to life. And that probably, looking back on it, shaped the way that I think, and both as a human, but also as a songwriter, to be able to understand different, the differences in life, understand that life is not just what I've experienced, but what other people have experienced. And I think in some ways, hopefully that's played out in my music, because, I mean, we were talking about this before we sat down today, but yeah, there's a pretty diverse crowd that comes to my shows. And I wonder if there's a connection between the fact that I was raised amongst
humanitarians.
You know what I'm saying? Humanitarians, exactly. And so there's a lot of humanity at these shows. It's all kind of full circle. Everything is full circle.
Yeah.
Everything sort of cycles back to the theme.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, raised in that area, very blessed. My parents are good people. Raised me up going to church every Sunday, so I'm a very spiritual person. Yeah. But I do think that this tour and the last tour have still sort of unpackaged my mind to see the world, because I haven't seen some of these cities we're going to. So I was raised in a diverse area, but we're figuring out a whole different how the world looks right now. Yeah,
and just being open to your calling, wherever it may call you. Just being open to those experiences. Like, I think when you talk about your dad being an immigration attorney, and then your mom also being very active in terms of the humanitarian stuff as well, and your sister and your family, and indirectly you're paying it forward with your music the same way. It's like it was always, I just, and I know your family, and they, everything they do is about love. There's purpose in it. They're trying to serve somebody.
Yeah.
They're trying to serve something.
Yep.
And when I hear your music, and when I first heard your music, I was like, oh, this dude, this dude's intentional. He's special. It's intentional about the message. This is not about just superstardom. Or no. I mean, if it comes, it comes. That's great, because we need that. We need that message to reach a global audience.
But it's never the goal.
But it's just touching people. It's intentional. It's touching people. And you heard your calling, and you went with it. And so many people ignore those signs,
Yeah.
Even with me, like I felt that early in my career, right? And you said you kind of, familiar maybe with my music early on.
Of course.
And I had to kill my dreams. I had to kill dreams because, at the time when I was trying to pursue music, the music industry was a graveyard. It was piracy. No one was, we're selling CDs out the trunk. We're city to city. And to make a living doing this, it was tough. And the channels that you guys have available to you today
It's crazy.
to speak to your audience and directly connect with them in the way that you have connected with them is just such a blessing.
It's the only reason why this is possible, to be honest with you. You make a great point. I'm currently, as a upcoming artist, in the most fortuitous position you could possibly be in, both with social media and the way you can distribute music now, and the way that an independent artist such as myself can truly be independent, and truly not just be independent, but thrive independently. And a lot of what you do is sort of making the landscape possible for those sort of pioneering artists. And you've created that access, I would say, for artists like myself and other independent artists like the ones that you've had and have sat right here, and the ones that will sit right here. But I appreciate what you said, man. And honestly, I think everything is about being a servant. I think we don't, growing up watching movies, that's not what gets glorified, is the servant leadership, the servant mentality.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not really what you perceive as the sort of quote unquote main character that we glamorize in pop culture. But I think I always had that example of servant leadership in my home.
Yeah.
My parents, my sisters, my brother, everybody finds a way to serve.
Yeah.
And for me, I think that I found that the best way to serve is to do it in the way, based on my skill set, is to do it in the way that calls to people's hearts the most. And I think music is the easiest way to call to someone's heart. I think music is the sweetest song, no pun intended. Music is like the sweetest, it's like honey. You know what I'm saying? You can attract more bees with honey than vinegar. And I think I'm trying to sort of serve globalistically. I'm trying to attract as many people as possible, not just preach to the crowd that already understands what I'm saying or sing to the choir that already feels the same sentiment that I do. I want to serve in a much more expansive demographic, which to me, I don't want any demographic. I want it all. I want every single person that could possibly relate to what I'm saying to have access to it, to relate to it. But it does come from the inspiration I see before me. Not just my family, people like you, man. People who have shown across decades that they will serve those they love, and they will serve those that they don't even know. They will serve those that need their service, and they'll serve those who don't want it. So as an artist, that's sort of the duty. Music is the universal language. So if I could speak to the whole world and speak a message of love, like you said, in this day and age, this digital age, with access to things such as BeatStars, I'm golden. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not just love. And I love that, when you're transparent and you're open about talking about, your depression that you endured prior to on this journey, and probably find elements of it throughout your journey today. Like we're human.
Of course.
But you also address pain, and you also address the complexities of relationships. And it's not just roses all the time. No. It's just not just roses all the time. And it's important for people to know that this journey is not perfect. It's not always laid out. But I think we give up on things too easy.
Yeah.
Right? We give up on things too easy. When it gets hard, we give up, especially this generation today.
Yeah.
This younger generation. Once it gets a little rough, we fucking
tap
hide
out.
into
it's time to tap out.
We hide into our corner.
Yeah.
And it's important for artists like you to continue having these songs, these lyrics, these messages, these stories of the ups, the downs, the triumph, the destruction sometimes. Sometimes you got to destroy yourself.
Life is balance.
Yeah.
You need it all. And I don't think we have a choice. I think life throws balance at you. The highs, the lows, the peaks, the valleys, the love, the sorrow. And you're correct that I think in this day and age, we're so used to immediate gratification that a little bit of pressure, a little bit of sorrow, a little bit of valley really is tough for the youth.
Yeah.
But I do believe in the human spirit of resilience. And I do believe that no matter whether it's this generation, our generation, the generation before us, and the generation before them, I believe everybody that is a human has that resilience in them.
Sure.
And so if I can be honest and vulnerable about that in my music, Yeah, that's wonderful. And like you said, it's not just love. You know, it's not just sun and moon. You know what I'm saying? Like a song like Leave Me is me being honest, being vulnerable, admitting something, and hoping that the listener will then, I might grant them permission, you know what I'm saying? Because some people need someone else to give them permission to be like, you know what? I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to admit it. I'm going to look inside myself because it's hard. It's hard to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
For sure. I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
I'm a work in progress. And you know, I think that, you know, when we say that young generation, once it gets kind of tough, even though that resilience is in us, and sometimes we're not taught to overcome. Nowadays, like I can't wait for fucked up shit to happen.
Let's go.
Life. You know what I mean? Like I can't wait for fucked up shit to happen because getting comfortable is a really bad place for human beings.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to find the next challenge, and I can't wait to
2,000%.
You know, but I wasn't always like that.
No.
I wasn't always like that. Things, and I'm sure you have experienced that too.
100%. I think the best things happen to you, the best things that happen to you are the ones you don't want. I think for myself, when I was younger, I always wanted what I envisioned. I wanted what I wanted. And when I didn't get what I wanted, it was time to be pissed. It was time to be upset. It was time to be sad. But I think life has sort of humbled me in a way to understand that I have no clue what I need. I have no clue what I need, and life knows what I need. You know, the universe knows what I need. In my opinion, in my belief set, God knows what I need. And so to not get what you want probably means you're getting what you need. And I'm with you, man. That's when we grow. That's definitely when we grow.
Yeah. And the throw on top of it is like the stereotype of being an Arab American and like the stereotypes of like music, in some families and some maybe your family wasn't like that. I mean,
but a lot of families are different.
Luckily my family was open to it too, right? They still don't even know what the hell I'm doing. but it's, you know, it's kind of frowned upon, you know, it's kind of frowned upon. And so that stigma we have to kind of overcome. And, you know, when I was out there performing and making music, like, dude, I would get so much hate. Yeah. So much hate. Like, hey, you're cursing in your music. That's haram. That's this.
Yeah. The haram police came for you, bro.
They came for me. They did. And it's like, I love that, you know, our people are growing up. Yeah. And we're being accepted. We're being accepting of our children.
That's because of you. No. That's because, bro, it is because of you. It's because of you and the artists like you who came before artists like me that broke the mold. Come on, bro. Y'all ate shit so we could eat a little bit less shit so the next generation doesn't have to eat shit. You know what I'm saying? You broke the mold, you know?
We couldn't be ourselves.
You know?
We couldn't be ourselves.
But artists like you, Offendum, Narcy, artists who came through as, you know, Arab Americans or just your generation who defied the convention, defied the norm, defied the tradition, and followed their hearts, which is really what every parent should be proud of their child for doing. Right. When you follow your heart, you are a success. That is literally the definition of success. Whether or not you make $10 million or you're broke, if you followed your heart, you did what you were called to do on this planet. In my opinion, that is success, and I think every parent should see it that way too. And y'all did that. So then for an artist like me, who's a little bit younger, but not as young as some of these artists coming up behind me, that sort of granted me permission. You know what I'm saying? And then for me to come out and do what I'm doing in a music landscape that's much more friendly than what you had to deal with, it hopefully gives even more permission to a 17-year-old or a 19-year-old who's looking up and thinking, I want to do this. And anytime I talk to a kid, no matter what their racial background is, and they want to pursue music or they want to pursue the arts, I tell them, do it. Do it. Just do your best. Do your best. Do it. Write a million shitty songs. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it takes before you write one decent one. But just follow your heart till the end. Because you'll find that even if artistry and the way you thought, being the artist, being the performer, isn't what your calling is, you'll find what was your calling. You'll go through that artist phase into something that you're meant to do, or you'll be an artist forever. Yeah. But whatever it is, when you follow your heart, you sort of find the promised land for you.
Yeah, and I think when we were first talking back in like 2018, I remember you telling me about your production company with you and Issa.
Yeah, my boy right there. Shout out East.
And it was like, I think I was hitting you guys up. We were doing an event. We're doing an event in Maryland. I think you guys were booked doing a wedding or something.
We were in Philly in a hostel filming a marathon.
Yeah, doing something. But I think I kind of went through that when I first kind of started BeatStars. Was
Yeah.
like, I need to find something related to the music, to me,
Yep.
the media, something for me to kind of release that creative energy, right?
Yes.
And I found fulfillment in it. I
Mm-hmm.
found fulfillment in it, helping other people tell their stories. And you were kind of doing that too with video, right? Helping other people
100%.
tell their stories, and you found fulfillment in that, and it taught you kind of like the landscape of creation.
Yes.
But it also catapulted you into being able to be this independent artist that knows how to narrate his own story with the help of collaborating
Yep.
with other people. A lot of artists, when they put out that first song and they don't see that first success and they're heartbroken.
It's time to quit.
Right. But tell me a little bit about being that behind the scenes person, working on the production stuff, dabbling a little bit in that prior to really going full force, recording your music, getting your songs out there. Was there any other things like that helped form
Oh, for sure.
what you're doing today?
Everything that I did prior to artistry formed my artistry. Owning a media company, delivering pizzas, becoming a lawyer, working at summer camp, all of it in one way, shape, or form built a certain part of Anise who you now know as the artist, right? My summer camp days taught me how to serve people, taught me how to live a life of service and a life of stewardship, right? Which now I believe I'm doing as an artist, and I think there's no way I'd be doing it at this level without working at summer camp. It's this. What I'm doing right now is the same thing as summer camp, which is why the tour is called summer camp. I'm not even trying to hide it. My pizza delivery days taught me everything about hustle and perseverance. I mean, I delivered pizzas on and off for 10 years. In the cold, in the hot, no matter what, in high school, in college, in law school, as a barred attorney, still delivering pizzas. That's sort of where my dog mentality, crystallized. If you can deliver pizzas for 10 straight years, you can make it in this music industry. I promise you that. If you don't quit Domino's after 10 years, but I loved it. I loved the grind. The only difference is that grind was never going to give me a platform I needed, like this grind. Law school taught me a lot of things. Taught me how the world works. Taught me how to navigate sort of the industries. Taught me how to navigate people who don't necessarily share your same interests. Taught me how to preserve my own interests and protect myself. And then owning a media company, like you said, taught me how to tell stories. Helped me understand more the value of video, the value of media to an artist, especially an independent artist, right? Because you see these major label artists that,
putting yourself in the seat of the viewer,
having to understand it as the consumer, because these major label artists have, when they film a music video, there's a whole team, there's a massive budget, and so not to take anything away from them, but they don't have to wear as many hats as I do. They don't have to wear as many hats as an independent artist does. I have to think, me and my team, small team, have to think of everything from, a treatment to the direction, to the editing, to the setting, to the wardrobe, to the lighting, to all of it. All of it. All those small things you don't think make a difference, or you wouldn't even think of if you had never worked in media, right?
And as a business owner, how can you delegate and scale your business without experiencing all of those activities early on in the creation? And when I first started BeatStars, I was customer support, I was answering the phones, I was product,
I used to be mailing out every single sticker.
Everything. I mailed out CDs
every
for people.
Single one of them, bro, with a handwritten letter. But it's like you said, learning to scale is it's a constant learning process. I'm still learning how to scale, right? Just on this tour alone, for the first time, we have a tour manager. For the first time, we have someone running my social media with me, rather than having previously one person wore two of those hats and another person wore the other two. Now we got four people wearing one hat each. And that's how you scale.
You know where I made mistakes early on in my career at BeatStars is as being an Arab American and Palestinian, we're like, oh, if you're in our home, like my employees or team members, like if you're in our home, you're family, right?
Yeah.
And you're forgiven of everything and
Do whatever you want
and the expectations or whatever. You're home, right? And in business, that's a recipe for disaster.
Not everybody knows how to be family.
And I think I started out trying to befriend every single person and I forgot about the goal.
Yeah.
Which was trying to liberate music worldwide. Was trying to like how with your video, trying to have people tell stories. I wanted to scale people telling stories, millions of songs all around the world, and express it. But in the early days, it's like I'm a high school dropout. I didn't go to no management school or college or anything like that. I didn't understand. I didn't work in no big organization, so it was hard for me to understand what it meant to hold teammates accountable and set expectations, and then also inspire them towards the goals that we're trying to achieve. And you're starting this journey now where you're having teammates, and a lot of them are in this room, and they're probably going to hear what you're going to say. But as the CEO,
right,
as the entrepreneur, the one that's inspiring this goal, that's setting these metrics in place to achieve what we need to do to continue scaling this love, this emotion to worldwide, right? How do you balance, building and scaling that team with friends and family and team members that maybe have never been part of your journey? Because I think a lot of independent artists, they need to hear this.
They do, because this is not an easy question to answer.
No.
And I think this is where a lot of independent artists
they fail.
This is the critical error, where they have a friend on the team that they trust, and that friend fucks them over. Or they have a friend on the team that they trust and that they don't fuck them over, but they can't get the job done.
They're not skillful.
And they're loyal to that person to a fault, and then their business fails. Or they don't work with friends. They work with people who they can't trust, who get the job done, but ultimately don't align with them. I think when it comes to...
how do you choose?
Yeah.
How do you choose the right person for the right job, for the right skill, for the right... it's tough.
So I think it all depends on the artist, right? It all depends on what's your movement. What's your goal? Where are you scaling to? What are your needs? Every artist shares similar needs. You need manager, you need media, you need production. If you're doing live, you need certain, you need live support. You need maybe a guitar player, a bass player, a drummer. You might have different needs depending on what genre you're in and what your goals are and honestly what your budget is. But I do think that I like to look at music as the CEO. This is me with my CEO hat on, as a business, right? And as a business, you have to think about what are your business principles, right? So is it we just want to make as much money as possible? Is it we just want to be the most famous independent team on the planet? I believe in a certain way of doing business that's a little bit more non-traditional. So there's this business model, I would call it, that we use that's a little bit more non-traditional. And it's where you build out your team and you have a certain system for accountability. And this is where you, what I'm trying to get at is process matters.
For sure.
Process matters. When you start putting people before process, your business will get fucked, for sure. And I think that's really hard for a lot of independent artists to understand, because if you're independent, it probably means that you're a grinder, probably means you're loyal, probably means you ride for your people. But what you have to remember is your goal needs to be bigger than the limitations of your personal perspective. You need to be able to put the process before the people to serve the people.
Yeah. So
I think independent artists need process.
It's tough because a lot of, everyone's always saying, go get a team, go get a team, go get a team. Like it's easier said than done. But I think having, and I could see it within the team that you have, everyone's passionate, everyone's aligned, and everyone's along with supporting the journey and wanting to see you succeed. And I think if you start at a baseline there, and then you build in the processes on top of that, you'll have success. And that's the kind of the success you're seeing today. But at first, it starts with the creative process. Before all of this comes into action, before these tours and these albums and these releases, it's, as artists, sometimes we're, introverts, sometimes we're fucking weird. We're fucking weird.
We
There's
can be,
something
bro. We
wrong with us.
can
There's
be.
something wrong with us, and in a good way, crazy in a good way.
Yeah.
But inspiration will hit us at different moments, at
Yeah.
different times,
Yeah.
and we need to release it. We need to write it down. We need to express it. We have to. We can't bottle up creativity. And just like you've enabled a lens into your world of creativity with your fans inside of your car.
Yeah.
Turning on that camera, welcoming them into the journey, into the flawed versions of the music, like all of it, like from
the immediately brand new versions. Every song that they've heard Leave Me.
Yeah.
The first time I ever sang it. Yeah, the first time I ever sang it, you heard it. And you could go back, it's still on my Instagram. You don't have to it's not like I deleted it because I'm like, nah, that sound like shit.
Right.
Nah, that's the process, right? Feedback, and also I think narrative, right? I'd like for people to see, if you find me today, you find Leave Me on a big playlist or something, you could go back, better yet, this is not a flex at all, when Kim Kardashian shared Leave Me, right? Everyone's freaking out, right?
Yeah.
The coolest thing for me is that the biggest celebrity on Instagram just shared it. But if you go back deep enough on my page, you'll find the first time that I ever even came up with it. You'll find the freestyle that it was. Right. I'm not hiding that. I'm not hiding the process. Process even before myself, right? I want you to see the neophyte stage of that song. I want you to watch me build it and crystallize it over live stream, over a series of different posts. I was in the car with the homies the other day we had a long drive. We had a lot of music to listen to, so I said, fuck it. Let's go through my Instagram. And I started playing like these most like early demo phases of some of these songs that are now out, that they now play on stage, right? And I think it was cool for them. And I heard a lot of feedback in the car. I think they were like, holy shit, this is what that song used to sound like? Oh, wow, this is dope. Or, oh, I see how you switched that. Or I see how you took this from that song and put it into that song. I think whether it's my band or the world at large, as an artist, especially independent artist, welcoming people into your process allows people to be a part of what you're doing. And that's when people are invested. They're not invested because you have a blue check. They're not invested because you have 1 million followers. They're not invested because you have any number of this, that, or clout. They're invested when you invite them into your process. And that, for me, is fun.
And they can value you even during your imperfect days.
Yeah.
Even when the concepts are not fully formed.
Yeah.
And there's, I think we social media can be very, very cruel sometimes, where it's like every post has to be perfection. Yeah. Everything has to be like fully thought out and perfect. And then when an imperfect thing happens, your fans are there to forgive you and hold you back and lift you back up. So when your fans were mad at you recently about the release date of Leave Me because it was inconsistent on when it was going to come out, but they forgave you.
Yes, the real ones do.
The real ones, and they supported you because you were always welcoming them into the imperfect process.
Yeah, even when it means giving them, even when it means making a mistake. And I think you never make a mistake as an artist. You don't make the mistake intentionally.
Yeah,
we're not out here. We're not out here trying to mislead people. But things do happen. And I think a lot of people forget that as artists, we're human. Yeah. We have goals, we have visions, and sometimes they don't play out the way we want them to. Yeah. And that hurts for us. Yeah. But I
don't want to cut you off, but it reminded me of a moment back in 2018. It was the end of 2018. We had a horrific event happen at BeatStars. We were getting hacked by some people I
think I remember this.
We were getting hacked by some malicious folks out in a different country.
Right.
And it was scary.
Yeah.
It was one of the most scariest moments in the history of the company. I still get PTSD thinking about it. And BeatStars, the company, was at a point where I thought
it was a breaking point.
It was done. I thought we couldn't figure out. Someone had put in like a Trojan horse piece of code that was trying to delete all of the music on the platform. And we couldn't find it. It was like a needle in a haystack and millions of lines of code. And we're like, we're done. It's over. Our community is never going to come back. They're going to abandon us.
But they had your back.
Dude.
They rode for you. You rode for them.
I went on live. I went on Periscope. We were down for 3 days.
Periscope, man.
72 hours. I went on Periscope, IG Live, wherever that was live. And it it was one of those moments. It was like, I felt like it was God talking to me. He's like, go talk to your people and be real with them and be honest with them and give them the fucking truth. And I think that video somewhere still on there. And I'm literally in tears. My son's in surgery. My wife's husband, my wife's dad, my wife's husband. She got another husband? I gotta find out. But my wife's dad had a massive heart attack. He's in the hospital all on the same day of this hack. And I'm crushed. So I get on live and I tell the fans and I tell all the supporters and I tell all the community at BeatStars, guys, this is what's happening. I don't know what's going on. They're on Twitter screaming and yelling, saying, fuck BeatStars. You guys are costing me money. You guys have been down for 3 days. They're
thinking it's you.
They're thinking that we're fucking up. Something's wrong, right? And for me to
relate to that.
Be vulnerable, transparent, and just tell them what is really, really happening behind the scenes. I'm in tears, man. I'm in tears. That whole, and then we figured it out. We got into we got through it. And you know what's crazy? Also, that same day that was happening, it was like the worst day of the history of the company. Was the same day. That morning, Lil Nas X purchased the beat for Old Town Road.
Get the fuck out of here.
So I didn't even know. We didn't know that song was going to end up being the biggest song.
Him purchasing that beat meant nothing.
Nothing at that time. So the same day, it was the worst day of the history of the company, was also underlying the God was working
the greatest day
of the history of the company. And we got through it, and the community lifted us up, and they supported us, and they forgave us. And actually, they supported us even more than I can ever imagine.
Yeah.
Companies don't do that. CEOs don't do that, and CBS covered it. And it was just like this event. It was this crazy e-commerce CEO goes on Periscope talking about, and I saw you do it. And I saw you do it. And I saw you be vulnerable. I saw you be honest and transparent with your fans. And I don't want you to ever lose that.
No.
Don't ever lose that.
No.
Because what makes us imperfect is actually what makes us who we are. And including your people throughout the journey, they're going to love you and bless you forever.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And the crazy thing, you say that, is that the people who go on, say, TikTok and chastise me for giving them the wrong release date. There's like threads. I honestly never look through the toxic comments.
Yeah. There's always going to be those people, but
I never do. But there was one time I did, right? And I was reading through this comment section on one of my Leave Me posts, and there's this one person, and TikTok is such a different generation, a different generation with a whole different approach to what they're entitled to, right? But there's one comment from someone saying like, "Oh, we don't care. You gatekept this song from us for no reason. You never, for you ruined it for no reason, right?" And then several people came in, piling on, right, going in, and there was this one person who responded to every single comment and explained everything that I kind of wanted to say but wouldn't bring myself to say. And I thought to myself, I don't give a damn what any of those other 20 people said, because that one person that was riding for me, that's a fan for life. That's someone who's going to show up and buy tickets and come see me when I come to San Diego or Atlanta or Charlotte. That's who I make my music for. Right. That's the person when I write these songs. Everybody else needs it. Even the people making the toxic comments, they still need the music. But the one that had my back, I got to focus on that fan. I got to focus on them. 100%. I can't let my vision become too scatterbrained. I got to rock with the ones who are rocking with me. Everybody else can come in time when they're meant to. But I think because of the digital age, artists and independent artists, we focus on that critique because it's so readily accessible, and our ego gets so wrapped in it. Like, you read those comments and you want to just tell them off and be like, fuck you, you don't understand. But there's things we can't share. Why Leave Me took longer than I wanted it to. There's things I can't share. Even if I wanted to be vulnerable, there's things I cannot say, right? It's nobody's business, and two, it's not my business to share, right? But I have to focus on the fans that instead of saying, you blew it, you waited too long, you lost the hype. I have to focus on the fans that say, I'm so glad you took the time with this song and dropped it when you did, because when you dropped it was exactly when I was going through my divorce and I needed it in that day. And it saved me in that day. That fan, that's the reason why the song took forever. And the thousands of fans like that fan, not the hundreds, because I wouldn't even call the critiques fans. No. Those critics are not fans. Those are passerbys. Right. They see me on TikTok. They don't see me as a human. They see me as a pixel. Sure. So it's easy to shit on me, right? It's easy to shit on somebody on social media because you don't see them three-dimensionally. You don't understand them as a human being with emotions and a personal life. And you don't know the reasons behind why they do or don't do the things they do. But the people who rock with you, just like the BeatStars community that stayed with you and my fans that stay with me, those are the ones that take us to the promised land. And those are the ones that we always stick by, because that's real community. That's not fanhood. That's community. Fans will, even the word fan, I hesitate to use. Fans will come and go. Because there's scales to fans. There's diehard fans. There's passive fans. There's, community is behind you at all times. And you are a part of the community. And I'm grateful to be a part of your community. And I'm grateful to have you as part of my community. And for all the fans that rock with both of us and stuck with us through the tough times. I mean, that's why we're here.
Because behind the scenes, you're rocking with them, and you're building for them too. And it, you're always going to get a couple percent of the trolls.
You need it.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into that then, because I think motivation to prove the doubters wrong. Oh man,
plays a little role.
I love my doubters.
Come on now.
I fucking love those people.
If they're not there, then what's left to prove? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If they
need it.
Well, and I also think
especially for longevity.
Yes.
Like to keep going and going and going and going, and staying uncomfortable. You need people that doubt you.
Yes. And I also think like whether it's as a CEO or as an artist or just as a creative in general, if you're putting something into the world that there is not any feedback, there's no flack, there's no controversy whatsoever, what are you really saying?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, I mean, because at that point,
what are you contributing?
Maybe what you're doing is not necessary. If we all already understand it, right?
Yeah.
What problem are you solving? What need are you addressing? What community are you serving? I think inevitably, when you put something of value, of meaning into the world, there will always be push and pull. There will always be, and the key is you can't take it personal. I don't take those troll comments at you, the troll. I don't take you personal. I don't take that personal. It's not about me. If someone comes into my comment section and drops something a little toxic, they're probably going through something. And maybe in that moment, I am the mirror for their projection, and that's okay. Because even in that moment, I'm probably serving them more than the fan that's fucking with my song. Because they needed me in that moment to work through something. They needed me in that moment to process something, and that's okay. As an artist, you sign up for that. I signed up for that. I got to know what I signed up for. I signed up for feedback. I signed up for push and pull. I signed up for critics the same way I signed up for love, the same way I signed up for roaring crowds, the same way I signed up for millions of streams. I signed up for the other shit too.
Yeah.
Balance.
For sure. You don't need a bunch of yes men saying you're beautiful all day long, 24/7. You need critics. You need it. I think going back to like your content, and I went back on Spotify. I mean, you only have like 10 songs out.
I think 8.
8.
Yeah.
In 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm not batting a big average right now.
No, but you're selling out tours, right? You're selling out shows.
Isn't that crazy?
But it's amazing because there's more. There's the purpose is larger than the quantity of music. There's each, and I think that the life cycle of each song, which you've proven within what you've done on TikTok, which is amazing, is like you will reintroduce the message, the song in different ways every single day for long periods of time, because we live in this world where attention is real ADD, man.
That's the ocean I'm floating in, baby.
Yeah.
I have to. I have to know the waves because it's not like it was before. And I think a lot of older artists don't get that, and they don't like that, and they resent it.
Yeah.
But they got a choice. If they want to keep rocking in this industry, or they want to let that boat sort of ride off into the sunset, I'm trying to keep going. Sure. And I understand that there's a balance to be kept. It's not exactly what I've been doing. I wouldn't say 8 songs in 3 years is the goal. It's not.
No.
I would say that and that's why I've got an album in the works. My goal is actually to build a catalog that is expansive and creates worldwide impact, but also generational wealth and health for my family. That is my goal, right? But in the process, you also have to understand that we don't live in the same music industry of 2009 or 2015. Yeah. Singles are important right now. Singles are very important right now. And the commerce place for music right now promotes singles. The social media space that feeds into the commerce place for music in even a higher degree promotes singles. So what I'm doing is trying to release a body of work single at a time. I'm trying to have the best of both worlds, but it's difficult because when you release a single like Sun and Moon, right? I never could have envisioned what that song would ultimately do.
Yeah.
I put it out with the mindset of let's put this song out, and the next month we'll drop another one, and then the next song. But then you drop the song, and it goes #1 in the Philippines, and you can't just drop another song the next day. It's not. You have to be a businessman as an artist.
Sure.
You have to remember we're trying to pay the creators right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get that song to its peak. I'm trying to steward that song to where it's meant to go. And you also, when you're doing that, you have to listen to the world. I could have envisioned that song. I could have had a goal and said that song is going to be top 50 on the U.S. charts, and that would have been a success. But instead, the world was like, "No, that song is going to be #1, but in the Philippines." I could have never anticipated that. But because of that, you know, we had to spend many more months working that song. You know, and I think some fans, or I don't know if they're fans, some people online didn't appreciate that and don't appreciate that because to them, it's put another song out. I want more music. I'm bored of this song. Me. I.
But you still haven't touched people that haven't experienced
Come on
it yet.
now.
Yeah,
#1 in the Philippines. We got 196 other countries, my boy. We're trying to take this thing everywhere. And as a businessman, I have to keep that in mind. I might piss off 5,000 people at the expense of gaining 500 million fans.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if those 5,000 people got to be pissed off for me to become globally prominent, and more important than me becoming globally prominent, but for my music to have worldwide impact, I'm more than happy enough to piss those people off.
Yeah. Who sets the rules anyway? Like, who sets the rules? And
we do.
Yeah. You guys decide. And you know, and I've noticed it, like, even within the BeatStars marketplace, producers will have like a few tracks that just pop out.
Yep.
Right? And maybe the rest of the catalog doesn't perform as well.
Yeah.
But that one track,
they're going to eat off that track
will
forever,
feed their
bro.
family for 3-4 years.
Forever.
Yeah. And it's evergreen content, and they keep reintroducing it. And sometimes they'll reintroduce it with different components. Like they'll add a hook on it. And like, okay, cool, add a hook on it. Or maybe they'll remix it to a different genre. And they'll, you know, it's
keep serving it.
If it's resonating and it's touching people, and you know that this is your home run song, and you know there's still and your music is very like broad, can you know, it doesn't just fit in one lane. It can reach niche. So it's not niche. So you can, you know, that's another thing. You know what the market size is. You understand it. You understand it. But a lot of artists don't. They think, okay, I'm just making this one hip hop song and this trap song, and I got limited amount of fans.
It's about vision.
Yeah.
It's about vision. You got to see your songs or your beats as plants, right? And if you start watering that plant and it starts growing bigger and quicker than you thought it would, and then you have to realize not 1 month, not 6 months, not even 1 year.
Yeah.
You got to think 6 years, 16 years, 60 years. Okay. If this plant, if I keep watering it, can grow to be a 200-foot tree and harvest fruits that feed not just my family, but everybody around me, then I'm going to keep watering it. Yeah. And if somebody else who I never will know online, who doesn't know me or anybody in my life, wants me to start watering another plant prematurely, I don't care.
Yep.
I genuinely don't give a fuck. Like, this is me taking care of me and my own so that I can serve the world.
Have you ever thought about operating outside of the traditional way of how people consume music? So like when I dropped a song like 2 years ago, I didn't put it on Spotify for 6 months. Where'd you put it? I put it on BeatStars. And I put a make an offer. I took the Nipsey, the Nipsey Hussle route. I said, make an offer on my music. It generated like $50,000.
Hell yeah.
You know how long it would have took me to generate like...
Yeah, it would have taken a long time, bro.
To generate that kind of streams.
That's a lot of streams.
You know what I'm saying? Have you ever thought about, you know, as an entrepreneur, controlling your pipeline, controlling your channels of distribution where, okay, cool, my consumers, of course, I want, you know, you definitely want to make sure that you feed the places where people are consuming music and you give them access to your music, but your supporters, your real like family members that come to your shows, that invest in your VIPs, that invest in your extra experiences that you do. Have you ever thought about creating a whole different experience for them? Because like for me, I'm a fan. I love your music. I don't want to just stream your music on Spotify. I want to continue to support you in your career. I want to give you $1,000, and I've done that to artists, and I do it all the time. But I think there's a lot of people like me though.
Yeah, I think people sleep on people like you.
Huh?
I think people sleep on people like you.
Yeah, because your music is more meaningful to someone like me. You know, it just means a lot more. It's not about the song. It's about the body. It's about the vessel. It's about the person that is doing this selfless act, is sacrificing obsessively to give me music and my family and my children something to listen to. And so now you're impacting what my daughter thinks what love is. Now you're impacting what my 12-year-old son is. We created a point for them to understand how to treat a woman.
Yeah.
You know, when all we're hearing 24/7 is how we treat women shitty.
Yeah.
And how we don't respect our women.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and so for me, these, especially with R&B, you know, kind of not dying, it's coming back. Love music is coming back, and I'm happy that love music is coming back. But there was a long period of time where no one was talking about love, man. No one was appreciating women. No one was just understanding the sanctity of a beautiful relationship and how you uphold it in front of your family, inside of your home.
It's hard to
so
make
to
that
me,
a popular way.
it's worth more than just a 0.0001 cent of a stream.
appreciate
You know
that,
what I'm
my
saying?
man.
You know what I'm saying? But I know, and you know, when I saw you bring up that couple on stage to where gentleman proposed to his bro, I was like, every show you need to set up a sign-up page on your fucking website.
Who wants to get married today?
Who wants to get married at the Denise show?
I need to just become an officiant.
Bro, yes, you need to like put on
that collar, my boy.
Put on that collar and start blessing people, because it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
Thank you.
The music means more than
Thank you.
it's, you know, and so I would love to see you start, as you grow and as you continue to formulate your business and your model, I would love to see you start dabbling into, you know, controlling what your creation is worth to other people, because you shouldn't tell us what it's worth. We should tell you. We should tell you. We should tell you.
And definitely not the DSPs.
No.
Yeah.
No, because, you know, we can go, that's a dark, deep hole. That's a dark, deep hole.
No, but you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I appreciate you saying that, because it's a spark to flame in me. And I've never, the reason why I haven't put much thought to it is because I probably don't have an accurate gauge on what other people value me at.
Right.
Right? Because you go so hard as an independent artist just trying to survive. And then when you get past the point of surviving, which I'm there, and you're doing well, you're constantly trying to scale, and you're constantly trying to maneuver the industry as it is. But what you're saying, which is so powerful, is what if you can maneuver the industry as you want it to be? What if you can, and especially as you want it to be with your community?
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Sure.
For the community to say, hey, we are going to, so to speak, invest based on what we value you at. Yeah. And I think not just myself, I think a lot of artists would be shocked to find out how highly their communities value them.
You'll be shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I would be shocked. And so maybe when that time comes, you know, I'll have to take you out to a nice steak dinner.
No, man. Hell no.
But
set up a website, let people decide. Let people decide what they want to pay you. Give them an amazing experience. Yeah, you will be so surprised about what your supporters will do for you. You know, you're already doing it in some form and fashion. You're already doing it, and it'd be amazing to see. You know, what bothers me the most, Denise, is that an artist like you that's touching millions of people, right, on Spotify and on TikTok. Sure, they're your followers, but you don't own that data. No. You can't remarket to them.
I can't get to them.
You can't really touch them as a business owner. How frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating.
Right?
Especially with Leave Me, right? I dropped the song 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This is the song that millions of people, literally millions of people clamored for. Right? And for reasons outside of my control, I couldn't release it when they wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I could release it, I had lost access to them.
Yeah.
So now this song is out and I can't get it to them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking frustrating. Because
when you could just send an SMS
bro,
or an email
if
address
it could just
to everybody.
Get to everybody that wanted it.
Yeah.
Right? Given there will always be a percentage of people that are like, nah, I liked it better on social media. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm all right with that. But there are millions of people, literally millions, who just don't know the song is out, who just invested in it at one point, but I don't have the wherewithal within my control to pay off their investment with the final product.
Right.
And that is bullshit. And I wish there was a way, and there are ways to sort of remediate. There are ways to procure data and manage data, but it's not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be a full, accurate funnel of these are all the people. And I shouldn't say it's never going to be.
Yeah.
But at present, there is not a way to tap into everybody who showed you love at one point when you were sharing those demos and say, here's the final song. Right. And if I could, and when I can, I'll say when I can, that's when my music is truly going to shake the ground. Sure. Because we see it when I post. When I post, I see the visceral reaction. Yeah. Sometimes it just takes me a little longer to get the song where it needs to be. And when I get to that point, sometimes I've lost the contact. Yeah. And that's what sometimes those people don't need the final song. That's okay, but I'd love as an independent artist to at least have the
a shot
option.
at it. Have a shot.
You know what I'm saying? Let me shoot my shot. Here, it's done.
Right.
Try it out. You don't like it? Cool.
Yeah. I would be doing the BeatStars community a disservice if I didn't mention some of the producers that
shout them out. Shout them out. These are my boys.
The ones I know of, right? We got Tantu.
Of course.
We've got Seko.
These two are like some of my best friends.
Okay. And then we got Yondo. Anyone else I'm missing? GC. Amazing producer, one of the top dogs on BeatStars.
We could work through some more of them. We got
these are all good guys, by the way.
All good guys.
All good guys.
I've done deals with Mixtape Soul.
Mixtape Soul, amazing. Another top
Sonics.
Okay.
Yeah, check them out. They're fire.
Okay.
And then what we got in the room? Is he even here? We got Kevin Spears, who's my producer. He also
I want to talk about him because I think it's interesting what you're doing. Yeah. And a lot of artists have done this. I've done this too. I've seen a lot of artists. They'll discover a sound on BeatStars, and maybe it doesn't fully complete the full picture.
It's not exactly what I want.
Yeah. Where as a real polished recording artist, you're gonna incorporate some things in the arrangement, in the mix that make it more unique to you. And so you use these beats as like a starting point, and then you incorporate your team, your production team, Kevin and your band, and you customize it for you. And I wish more and more artists would do that. I wish more and more artists would do that because. I don't know, because sometimes the producer won't give you the full vision, right? They'll give you a taste of it, of what it could be, and kind of set the emotion of it. But then there's another post-production part of the song as an executive producer. And I've done it too, where I'll take some stems and maybe I don't like that bass line.
Yeah, or make the bass line better.
Make the bass line better. Add a different melody, or maybe the top line needs some work, or the drum sound selection maybe could be better, right?
But this is the beauty of BeatStars, right? Something for everyone. Some people, their musical direction, their executive production taste, they want exactly what they found on BeatStars. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Mixtape Soul drops a beat. I'm rocking with it. It's exactly my vision. I'm writing to it. It's done. Put it out. Some people want to use the beat and like you said, improve it here, change it here, take something out, push and pull. And some people, and this is where my greatest joy has come through your platform. Some people don't see BeatStars as a commerce place. Some people see BeatStars as a community building tool. And for me, that's where I found my most success with what you've built, right? Before I came on tour, 4 days before I left for Vancouver, Seko and Tantu were in my basement, You know what I'm saying? They flew from the Netherlands after I've known them for 4 years to my house in between tours,
Amazing.
in between my summer tour and my fall tour. And this is the beauty, right? Because now these guys who I've built this relationship with through BeatStars are more than just, it's not transactional anymore. We're still doing business, but there's a relationship being upheld. And, you know, there's beats that I've purchased with them from their BeatStars, but now I'm in the room with them. I'm not just getting necessarily, sometimes
and you're comfortable already with their sound. So you're like, you're, you know.
It's like we've almost reverse osmosis, like built my sound through what we've been doing. Like with Secco, like he made the beat for Slip and he made the beat for Sun and Moon and he made the beat for What Lovers Do, right? So clearly we have a synergy between what he makes and what my brain wants. Right.
You're gravitating towards his sound. You're gravitating
we've
towards
attracted each other from across the ocean. And so the fact that pulled us into a basement where we are now making, you know, songs from scratch even together.
#1 songs now.
Yeah. Well, he's changed my life. I've changed his life.
It's crazy.
Kevin also got involved on those songs and helped produce them, so it's changed his life. You know, Zach helped write these songs, so it changed his life. So everybody's life is being changed in one small way. And not just the people who you're going to see in the credits. We're on tour right now, singing these songs to sold-out crowds in different cities every night. Everybody that's involved, the fans, the band, everybody on the team, everybody in the management, everybody on the merchandising, everybody in the media. But this all starts with one origin point, right? And that's Secco just putting himself out there, putting something into the BeatStars world, and me finding it and saying, I could do something with this. And that synergy, and I told Secco this when we were hanging out in my basement, because this is my first time meeting him. Well, his real name is Wessel, right? And we were out to eat, me, him, and Tentu. And it's like late at night, and I looked at him. We're at a gas station. It's called Sheetz. I don't know if you've ever been. We're sitting there. He's having his first quesadilla ever. He's loving it, right? He's loving it. Ask Wessel how he feels about the quesadillas.
We'll see him next week.
Oh, yeah. Get him a quesadilla. Don't tell him. Just bring one to him. And I looked at him. I said, you know how many lives you changed when you made that beat? You know what I'm saying? Do you know? And he told me a story. He said when he made the Sun and Moon beat, he said that he was just finished with school. He was so stressed out. He finished his final exam. And to come home to treat himself, he decided to just create something. Now, so many people to treat themselves go get, you know, shit-faced, go on vacation, go take a nap, go watch Netflix, lounge out. In his moment of exhaustion, he tapped into his creative higher self. And he completely transformed the course of my life, all of my fans' lives, all of my team's lives, everybody around me, my family, my family that's not even born yet, right? Because he decided after his test, he was going to tap into his higher self. And that's the power of creation. When you create, you change lives that you will never even see. The magnetic, the gravitational pull of your creative output is so much more powerful than you can fathom. He never in a million years would he have dreamed when he came up with that chord progression, what it would do. Right?
And that's when you know it's so real, because it wasn't planned.
Not at all. No script.
It's not like you guys were in the studio, like, let's force this collaboration.
Nope.
You know, and that's...
But he did make that for me.
He did.
I believe he made it for me.
For sure.
I believe he made it for me, and I believe I wrote it for him. And I believe that I believe we were in the studio together from across the world.
That's crazy.
I genuinely believe that, because I freestyled the chorus in the gas station parking lot, Costco, sitting there.
Bro, you know how hard it is for me sometimes to, like, not work and just write rhymes on BeatStars.
It's very difficult, bro. It's
so
very
hard.
difficult. You live in a playground.
Oh God,
You're on the
so
ultimate
blessed.
adult playground.
So blessed. Like millions of tracks that are just canvases for just stories and stories, man. One of these days I'm gonna.
We need an album.
Yeah, one of these.
Come on, dog. Run it back for us.
One of these days, my old ass will get back in the booth.
There's no reason why you can't.
You know, manifestation.
Yes.
We're putting it out there, right?
Of course.
I'm gonna come out with an album, but manifestation means something really really important to you. And I even in your early days when no one was fucking following you on Twitter.
Yeah.
There was no one liking your tweets. And I'm sitting there, oh, and he's so cute. He's
literally 0 likes.
Yes, maybe me. Like maybe I'm the only
I appreciate you, my man. Come on now, help me down.
But and I loved that practice, that energy. And I teach it to my kids now. I teach it to my kids, and we write down our goals. And we wake up every day and we write down those 3 or 4 things that we're trying to achieve. Yeah. Okay, what are those 2 or 3 things that we're going to do to get to that one thing today? Yeah. Even though that one thing may take 6 months.
Yeah.
What are 1 or 2 things attainable today that we can do? And for anyone to be successful, there has to be some sort of like stake in the ground. There has to be a flag. There has to be a point that we're all working towards. Yeah. And some of the things that you've manifested on Twitter, when they finally happen, I just smile, bro. I'm like, oh my God, this dude, he's really, really taking advantage of what God has given you.
Thank you.
And you're showing what dedication and sacrifice can actually do in someone's life. And when people say, oh, this person's going to change my life, this person's going to change my life. And when I point to you as in your story and you're kind of like as an example of success and independence, I'm like, yo, he changed his own life. He chose today was going to be the day I was going to change my life. Where did that come from?
We say manifestation a lot, right? It's like a big buzzword now.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people fully understand what it means. You know what I'm saying? For some people, it's like, some people don't fuck with the word because it sounds like, it sounds too like ethereal. It's like, it's like an amorphous, like, okay, you manifest, but what does that really mean?
Yeah.
I think when you break it down and the way that manifestation has changed my life, it boils down to actually belief. Belief is the secret sauce of manifestation. Primarily belief in yourself. Yeah. We don't have enough self-belief in our world. There's not enough self-belief. And I think that's because there's not enough perception of self-worth. And
how often are you thinking about the things you want to achieve?
Oh, I never stop. I never stop. I got way too big of goals to stop thinking about this stuff. But self-belief for me probably starts with my mom. You know, good mothers who instill self-belief into their children create superheroes, create unstoppable forces. I was rooted and steeped in an ecosystem as a child where my mom and my dad empowered me to believe I could do anything, right? So when that is what your sponge brain as a child is absorbing, how could you not become who I am now? How could I not speak and will these things into existence? As a child, when your brain is most formative, my brain was structured in a way based on the love around me that I believed I could do anything. I was delusional as a child. I genuinely believed I could do anything. Like, I could be the best quarterback in the NFL. I could be the best singer in the world. I could be the fastest dude on the planet. Even if these things weren't true. Clearly they were not true. None of those things are true, but I believed they were true. And it's not about whether or not they were true. It's about the fact that my self-belief was unlimited. My self-belief was unbounded, circumspect to anybody's opinions. So when you have that sort of self-belief, manifestation is easy. Because manifestation is just an understanding of, I can do it, and I'm going to talk about it and put it out there and work my ass off until it happens. Manifestation is not, I'm going to say it and it's going to magically pop into my life. No. Manifestation is a statement of immutable intent. I'm going to put it out there 1,000,000 times boldly. Because when I work my ass off for it, when I do that and it finally happens, it will have started with my declaration of intent. Right. And that's, I think,
you got to be genuine.
You got to be genuine. It's not, we don't manifest.
You can't just manifest some bullshit.
It's not a flex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just bullshit. That is just bullshit. But I think beyond self-belief, the other key component to manifestation is belief in something greater than yourself. And this is the key.
And being open
yes.
to welcoming the unknown
yes.
of things that you never could have even imagined you can attain.
Which comes with the belief in something greater than yourself. You have to believe in yourself unlimitedly. You also have to believe that there's something much greater than you. Because when I manifest that I'm going to have a #1 song on the planet, right? Mm-hmm. I manifest that. Part of that is my self-belief that I know I can do that. And I don't give a damn what anybody thinks. I know I can do that, right? The other part is, for me, this is just me personally, a unbreakable belief in God, right? For me, God and my spiritual life is behind everything I do. And I personally believe that God has a plan for me that I can't understand and I'll never understand. But what he wills for me is what I'm meant to have. So I will speak my manifestation to the loudest volume and believe it to the deepest degree possible. And then whatever God makes of that manifestation is his will for me, right? And that, for me, those two things at the same time create heaven on earth. You know what I'm saying? Because I am living exactly what I'm meant to live. I speak it, I work my ass off for it, and then God takes care of the rest. And sometimes it means I don't get what I want. Thank God.
And you know, in the Arab community, we sometimes tell our kids, don't tell everyone your dreams. You know, they're gonna put the ayin on you.
Yeah. No, fuck
right?
that.
Right? Like
fuck that.
Right. Don't share all of your dreams. Don't share all of them.
Because people will curse it.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, people are incapable of that. You're cursing yourself when you think that way. We curse ourselves. The negative self-talk, people don't realize negative self-talk is so much deeper than just empty. It's
sure.
You're manifesting negativity into your life.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, we all have. Me too. But that's the power of the human brain. That's the power of our consciousness. We control the tipping points. We decide, is today going to be a beautiful day or the worst day of my life? Yeah. Right? Just like you said with BeatStars. You know what I'm saying? Your belief in what you were doing tipped that towards where you are now.
I was delusional, just like you. I knew this was going to happen.
Hell yeah.
From day one.
Hell yeah.
I knew it. I knew some of the biggest songs in the world were going to be made on this platform.
And how many people believed in it?
Nobody.
Right. Did it matter?
Did not fucking matter.
And look where we are.
Yeah. It was you know, I think you said something one time where you're like, man, sometimes I black out. I black out when I'm creating. I don't know. It's a higher power sometimes.
100%.
And when the first concept and the first kind of like purpose of BeatStars, I was blacking out. I didn't know what I was doing. It was like someone else working in me.
You were in flow state.
Yeah,
That's flow state.
For sure.
That I think that the optimal human creative process is flow state.
Yeah.
When we're tapped into what we're meant to be doing.
For sure.
You're there.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
Some people don't wake up and have a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm just blessed to wake up and have a purpose. You're blessed to wake up and have a purpose. Your sister, Layla, I have to shout out Layla.
Shout out Layla.
I love Layla. She sent me a live video one night. It was like, I don't know, 10, 11 p.m. And she texted me. She said, Abe, check your Instagram DM. You got to see what's happening. I'm like, oh, God, what's going on now? And I go on your live, and I've never seen you this blushing red before.
Right.
You were nervous as hell.
Yeah.
And fucking Justin Bieber is singing every word to your fucking song. And he's
Shout out Layla that in that moment, she said, I'm a DM this to Abe.
Yeah.
She needed you to see it.
Yeah, she needed me to see it. Because she knew how proud I would be.
Yep.
She knew how proud I would be. And I'm seeing this Justin Bieber singing, dancing, and singing every song. And you're sitting there blushing, nervous as fuck. And he's just like, this moment is happening? Is this moment really happening? How did it feel, man, to have like one of the most global, iconic, superstar pop artists singing your song? And then also, just like how I said, how your music, you know, how it relates to how I want my children to view their relationships and their, you know, he loved that song because of what it meant to him. his girl, to him and his girl.
100%.
Yep.
What it meant to them.
Yep.
True.
How'd that feel, man?
I mean, it's like we've been saying, man. We always knew these things would happen.
Yeah.
We didn't know what would happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know Justin Bieber would embrace me in front of the world,
right,
and uplift me.
Showcasing in front of all of his fans, his audience,
never,
everybody.
Never in a million years would I have expected that.
It was like 100,000 people in there, a couple 100,000.
Close to it. It was like 70,000 at one point.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would I have expected it. But I think in those moments, and this is very appropriate to the nature of mine and Justin's conversation, you have to see God's hand in it. you have to see God's hand in it when you're being blessed. When that moment happens, you could chalk it up to so many things. Oh, it's just a fluke. Oh, it's a coincidence. Oh, somebody's behind this. You know how many people? You know how many people asked me, "How did it happen? How did it happen? How did it happen?"
Right.
I don't care. I don't need to know. I don't need to know. Yep. We like to explain away the magic in life sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Why?
Someone paid. Someone did this.
Yeah, someone did. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't.
And usually celebrities at that level. And remember, you're an independent artist. He has no business wanting to promote.
There's no incentive.
No
incentive whatsoever.
No incentive for him to do that,
which
unless
is why
it was real.
I know that it was God.
Yep, for sure.
There was a connection between Justin and myself, which was the nature of our conversation. We talked about God, nature, marriage. We talked about the things that mean the most to us.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe I'm called to do this. I genuinely believe that there's no artist too big for me to connect with. There's no audience too distant for me to reach. Moments like that are just an affirmation of that. And shout out to Justin, because being as colossal as he is, being one of the most iconic artists of all time, he didn't see himself as too big to have that conversation with me.
Yeah.
When the greatest that there is humble theirself, and a humble artist is among the great, God is at play.
Yeah.
God is at play.
For sure.
And that's the bond we had. And, you know, we can become very successful in this music industry and start to businessify everything, explain everything away.
No.
I'm going to just say it again. For me, it's God. For me, it's deeper. For me, it's something higher than myself. I can work my ass off. I can manifest. I can be as talented as I am. But for me to be doing the things I'm doing, you can't explain it without God.
Beautiful, man. For those that haven't heard the songs, I think we should get into a couple of these songs.
Let's listen.
Dante, can we play Sun and Moon, produced by...
Come on, produced by Secco and Kevin Spears, baby.
Let's go. Let's play it. Let's get into it.
I'm happy every time I hear this song.
Yeah. Baby, you're my sun and moon. Girl,
It's
everything
it's that guitar.
Yeah.
Singing.
I'll tell you something about the song that blew my mind. Secco explained it to me. So, I think it's during the verse, right? So
It's not perfect. There's some imperfections on the actual...
Yeah, and he was explaining that the coolest thing is that my verse structure was a counter melody to the beat. And he said a lot of people would traditionally just ride the structure of the melody. You know? So like right here. Dun, 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 dun. I really love you.
And then that...
I would do anything.
Right.
But instead I created a counter melody, and he said that that's what I'm most special at. And it fucking blew my mind. Because I didn't do that intentionally. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be creative here. No, it's just that's the pocket that I found. I found the space that I wanted to swim in.
What's that? It sounds like an organ.
I think it's a little synth.
The little synth organ.
Yeah.
That when that pops out.
But that's what he was saying, that I could have wrote that.
You could have wrote that part. And when everything drops out.
Yeah, this is always on stage, the best part, because like it strips back a little bit, and we're about to just sort of punch it into the final drive.
Especially in today's music, where the vocal is not an instrument anymore.
Mine is.
Yeah,
Mine is
for
definitely,
sure,
bro.
100%. Like so many songs you hear on the radio, it's like the beat is so loud
So
and the
prominent.
vocal's buried, and it's like no one wants to showcase the actual emotion.
And that's why those songs are so popular. Unfortunately. That's why my songs...
And you know what else I have a theory as well too? Is that we've been so used to like digitized sound with, you know, too much auto-tune and too much like effects, where your vocal comes in so organic and so real. It sounds like you're singing it in the room with me.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of the days where, you know, when artists used to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
well, it's funny because that was never my intention consciously to use my voice as an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a songwriter, and that's my number one skill, my number one superpower, I just like what I add to the songs.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I add to the beats. I don't feel some of these songs are complete
Right.
without what I'm going to add to them. And it's funny, Janeer, is Janeer in here? No, I think Janeer's outside. He was saying, my drummer, he was saying that like some of the times, like the way I deliver it is like a drummer.
Yeah.
Like I bring this like sort of drum pattern to certain songs.
Exactly.
And then on other ones, the other day we were driving in the car and I had this melody and two of the dudes in the car were like, yo, that should be horns. But what they were hearing was just me vocalizing what the horns would do.
Exactly.
So, and the horns could accompany it, but I do think that and here's the thing, I don't play guitar. I don't play drums. I don't play piano. But I sort of...
You understand it, though.
I understand how to arrange.
Where it fits.
And I use my voice to arrange.
It's a simple beat. I mean, it's a simple track. There's
Super
only a
simple.
couple instruments.
All my music is simple.
Yeah.
All my music is simple, and there's no shame in that. I mean, less is more a lot of the times.
For sure. There's beauty. There's beauty in the simplicity.
Come on. And a lot of people, like you said, these really popular songs, like, that's a struggle for me because a lot of these really popular songs, the vocal is so subdued and so almost playing such a the vocal in some of these massively popular songs plays such a subtle, small role, which is cool. No judgment.
Yeah.
But as a songwriter, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
You have a message.
The message can't be tucked underneath. There's other music that's where the songwriting, the lyrics don't matter as much, and that music rocks.
For sure.
It's not my music.
For sure.
You know?
The lyrics mean something.
That's why my fans are here.
And we're hearing emotion in the vocal. You're being unapologetically you. You're not being afraid to throw in emphatically when you feel something. Like, it doesn't have to always fucking be
It's not perfect.
Like, yeah, I'm glad it's not perfect. I love hearing some of the inflections that, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And he ran with that. He ran with that.
That's just me. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
you. It makes you you. It's your signature.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I think that bridges the gap between my humanity and my artistry because I'm not perfect.
For sure.
Right? I mean, it's easy with all these knobs we can twist
Yep.
and all these frequencies we can bend to make something sound as perfect as possible. But that's not true to humanity.
I remember vividly you sending me some music. I think you texted it to me. This is stuff wasn't even out yet, and you were just rapping.
Oh yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah,
it was nauseating.
You were rapping, and I'm like, and then I forget what song it was that really showed me your range, and I'm like, oh shit, Anise can sing.
Might have been Slip.
Maybe Slip was the one that really just kind of like
that was the first time where melody sort of became prominent for me.
Slip's still my favorite.
That's your favorite?
Shit.
That's because you're OG.
I love.
That's because you're OG. Real ones don't realize that Slip should have the 200 million streams.
I wish Slip can come out now.
I wish Slip. Why? You know, honestly, but why can't it? Why can't I reintroduce it to the world?
Bring that bitch out.
Because that song has like 12 million streams, and that's great.
It's great.
12 million is great.
Yeah.
But if I dropped that song, like you said today, it would fuck heads up, and it would be on the charts. We'd be running it on the radio. It'd have 500. And guess what? It can, and it will.
Yeah.
All I got to do is re-release it.
There's no rules.
Remaster it.
There's no
do
rules.
something. Make a remix. Why
Add
not?
another instrument to it. Do something to it. Like
Yes.
just bring
The Slip.
add a new verse to it. Put a new verse to it. You know. Dante, let's hear Slip, please.
Come on now. Give it to us,
And
D.
this is also Secco.
This is also Secco.
And Kevin Spears.
And also Kevin Spears.
Dope.
Am I supposed to talk during the song?
You could, let's talk. Let's
Okay,
talk.
I didn't know if I was fucking up the vibes.
We want to kind of break it down while we're listening to it, you know?
So this is
the horns.
Come on now, those horns are great. I can't remember if that was in the beat originally or if that was Kevin's doing.
Got it.
But either way, excellent. So the interesting part about the beginning.
Wait, you recorded this in the car?
Yes. This is in the Ford Focus in a Food Lion parking lot.
No excuses.
Fuck excuses.
What I love about this song the most is the technicality in your flow, actually.
It's a daring song. That's the one thing I'm gonna give this song. Find me another song like Slip. Find me another song like this. You can't.
In the build-up.
And I think that's why so many people fuck with it. Because it doesn't make sense. And some people don't like things to make sense. And it's extremely hard to perform.
All these artists that are just like, oh, I have to be in a big studio and I have to do this and I have to do this to get emotion or get my vocals out. Like, you are breaking all the rules, man.
Rules don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Bro, I used to think I had to spend all that money. Then I thought I spent weeks buying foam panels and fitting out my closet and just this mic, that mic.
Yeah.
And guess what? I fucking hated singing in a closet. I liked singing in my car. That's why I'm happy. That's why you hear the voices happy. Yeah, this song is really a fucking hit, man.
To me, this is the one. I love Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon's short and sweet. It's awesome. Sun and Moon should be in commercials all over the world.
Yeah, no, 100%.
This one, this is the catalog item. This is the one I think that
real fans.
At the end of your career, this is going to be the one that
is number one.
Yeah, I think so.
Real fans will feel that way.
Yeah. Which I love Lead Me To, though.
You know the thing about this song that I love too is I will always associate this song as The Moment.
Oh,
you know,
hey, that was the one that everyone tapped in.
Come on now.
Yeah.
How can you not, like, you think back on this song and it's like that's when I made it. Now, of course, I could say I made it the moment I chose to pursue art. But
this was you.
This was
This
me.
was the moment you.
This was my arrival.
Yeah, this was you.
People understood who I was here, and they'll never stop understanding it. But on this song, everything changed, man.
Everything changed.
Shout out Justin.
Shout out Justin. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. He tapped in when
At
Slip.
this level,
Yeah,
bro.
Right.
On this breathy ass, busy ass song.
I love this busy ass song. This is the one.
We started opening the shows with this song in Aspen. We might do it. Should we do it tonight? Should we open the show with Slip?
I wouldn't be mad at you.
What y'all think?
It's some songs you just listen to, it was delivered perfectly. The production was perfect. The mix was perfect. Sonically, it just massages your ears. There's nothing poking out that hurts your ears sonically.
Sweet.
It's just one of those songs that you could just
Appreciate that.
It's like like when people listen to lo-fi music or study music or like music to relax to.
It's for the vibes.
You could just hear it 100 times over and over. It doesn't get old. This one does it for me, man. Congratulations.
I appreciate that, man. And the funny thing is we're on the same page.
Yeah.
A lot of times when fans ask me what's your favorite song, I tell them Slip. Because
the artist in you.
Bro, it was so daring to come out with that like what is that, like 40 bars in the beginning?
Yeah.
And it's not like catching, it's not like ear catching bars either. It's like really, like spoken word almost for a solid like 45 seconds.
My daughter can rap the whole thing.
I'm sure she can. I want to hear that. For like a minute though. Like the hook doesn't even come in, and then when the hook does come in, there's like a confusing balance between the pre-chorus and the chorus.
Yeah.
It's like which one is the hook?
You know what I'm going to manifest right now?
Let me hear it. It's going to resurge again?
No. Slip will have its life. I already know it. Will have another life. I already know that. You will have songs that will just in your catalog in the future, as long as you continue being open to welcoming the different energies. You will have songs in your career where these songs may not even be the biggest in your life. In your
2,000%. 2,000%.
You're just getting started.
Dude, that manifestation is fact. And I'll tell you what, I was telling the guys the other day, when we put together a set list for these shows, you want to be careful when you set it, right? It's like, you don't want to give the climax of the show too soon. So it's like, we'll put Sun and Moon and Leave Me at the end. Like, maybe we'll put Slip right there with them. But I know for sure, within the next year, that Slip, Sun and Moon, and Leave Me can all be 3rd, 4th, 7th on a set list, right? I look at it like a baseball lineup, right? They don't have to be the home run hitters.
Yeah.
They're hits. But when I go watch some of my favorite artists, some of my favorite songs are the 3rd one they play at the show.
Yep.
And that's beautiful.
I've seen thousands of artists perform, and this is your first tour. And I recommend everyone out there listening, you have to go see this guy on stage.
Come through.
Because he's putting on a show with him and his squad that is like a polished, seasoned veteran in the game. And I told you in DC, I said, I've seen legends not put together sets like this and performances like this, engaging shows like this. Congratulations on all your success, Anise. It's been like, this is like one of moments in my life that I've been waiting for to happen, because you are a testament. You're a testament to the things that I've put in motion many, many years ago.
Manifested this.
And you're an example, a great example, great role model, and continue on your journey, my brother. I love you.
Love you too, man.
And I'm gonna see you tonight at the show.
Hell yeah.
And where can everyone find you? Where can everyone find you?
Everywhere as Anees. A-N-E-E-S. A-N-E-E-S. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere. That's just me, my name. Come through, kick it with me online. We do things like we do here, communal. You know what I'm saying? If you want a community of good vibes, love, manifestation, and just pure energy, come kick it with me. You know, I'll see y'all then.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming through, my
Love
brother.
You, dog.
Yes, sir.
I'll never forget that 2018 phone call. You stayed on the phone with me for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that to this day.
Of course.
Love you.
Of course, man. Love you too, man. Of course.